Hey guys, and as you can tell by now, yes, Lightsworn has been removed from Daily Duels, so to celebrate it and send it off on its way, we go ahead and do a deck profile of the deck, and you also get 2 Daily Duels today, so going up at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time, what is that, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, you will get, episode of Daily Duels, me dueling with the Pendulum Thunder family. I'm going to go ahead and try it out, see if it works or not. So, be sure to also watch that. But I'm just going to jump right into the deck profile for the Lightsworn deck and go over a card. You guys want to go ahead and make it, play it on Dev Pro, and troll the hell out of people with this skillless deck, then go ahead, right ahead. So let's just jump right into it. So we got 3 JD. JD is the most powerful monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes we ponder on why it's still at 3. I mean, it's just so easy to summon. You have 4 Lightsworn monsters with different names. Drop this guy, pay 1,000, wipe the field except for himself. It's not once per turn, so you can literally just go pay 1,000, wipe it. Oh, something survived. Pay 1,000, wipe it. Oh, something survived again. Pay 1,000, wipe it again. This card was definitely giving me a problem a couple years ago, back in like 2008, when I was playing Yubel, and JD hit the scene, and he could just wipe all my forms of Yubel right off the field and start hitting me directly. Tons of OTKs like summoning JD, wipe the field, wipe the field, wipe the field, summon another JD, summon another JD, summon BLS. Just go for a game, just all the damage, all the damage. Also, during the end phase, you had to send the top 4 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and you can easily mill yourself out, so that's why we run a particular XC monster, which I'll get to, just to make sure you don't mill yourself out. We run 1 Gors because this deck does not have any back row, and it's just easy to just take the hit, drop a Gors. He is also a Dark, so being a Dark, he's an easy target for banishing for monsters such as BLS and Chaos Sorcerer. So I guess this deck's technically a Twilight, but I find that this build is the best. There's also like other builds such as the Dragon Rotor build. I think Sephiroth Lionheart said that deck was tier 0. This deck will never be tier 0. If you guys are wondering, Lightsworns will never be just so far ahead of every other deck in the format that nothing else can keep up with it. That's literally going to be impossible. I really don't think that the deck is ever going to be that competitive, just because it runs into the same problems that other decks that you can easily side against run into. If you're having a problem with, for example, Mermails and Dark Worlds, and you can side into Remove from Play, you'll easily just this deck will easily be a casualty. This deck doesn't have any back row. I mean, there is some versions with back row, but then you're taking away from the consistency of the deck, because the deck needs that consistency since it's constantly milling cards. It needs to keep the monster count in its hand high. The side deck, it can easily mill side cards, so overall the deck is kind of just fun to play, kind of gimmicky, but I really don't see the deck ever being just the shit competitive tier 1, tier 0 status. Definitely not. Run 2 tracks, just like with Gors. I don't have any back row, and I take damage. It's also a Dark. I can just drop this from my hand and have a beater. He's also Dark, so for BLS and Chaos Sorcerer, you can use this effect. You can send 1 monster from your hand to the graveyard to target one of your opponent's monster with the same level and take control of it permanently. You do not give it back. That's yours forever as long as it's on the field. And then also you can use this effect, or once per turn you could target 1 monster in your graveyard, and this level becomes that level. So literally you can just go track effect, pitch your 4, take their 4, track's other effect, copy the 4 that you just pitched, become a 4, and then XC. So definitely some decent XC plays, also synchro plays. So and also he's a Dark target, and when you're looking for some good Dark targets, I definitely like to go with him. As you can see, I'm not running Dark Armed. I used to run Dark Armed, but he would get kind of cloggy. Sometimes it wouldn't be the right time to drop him. Sometimes it would. I mean, he's a win condition, yes, but when he's kind of hard to pull off. Like, if you guys want to go ahead and make the deck and put a Dark Armed in here, then more power to you. I personally don't like it. I'd much rather have Gors and Trag over Dark Armed any day. And of course, we got BLS himself. It's a deck. It has lights. It has darks. Of course, it's gonna run BLS. Not a really big fan of BLS. I think he's a dick, and he's also a win condition. When at the right time, he can just take the duel by himself. Being a 3,000 beater over the attack barrier, totally different from Chaos Sorcerer. He banishes. He can target a monster on the field and banish it, and then you know, he can't attack directly. Some people forget about that. Or he can attack a monster, and if he does, he can make, and he kills the monster. He can. Well, I don't think he has to kill a monster. I think it's just if he. No, yeah. Discard attacking monster destroys the opponent's monster by battle. It can make a second attack, which can go for a lot more damage, especially tacked on with Honest and Armory Arm. It was a combo in it was just dirty. So yeah, 1 BLS. 2 Chaos Sorcerer. I was experimenting between, you know, 1 Chaos Sorcerer, 1 Dark Armed, 2 Chaos Sorcerer, and I found that Chaos Sorcerer was more reliable than the Dark Armed. You know, you draw into a Dark Armed, it's not the right time to summon it, then, you know, oh well. Chaos Sorcerer, you know, as long as you got a Dark and a Light, here comes Chaos Sorcerer. It's more balanced than BLS, being that it's not up to the attack barrier, and that's and besides like the double attacking thing, I think that's the difference between Chaos Sorcerer and BLS, is that BLS is over the attack barrier. You know, your opponent summons BLS, you know, gets rid of shit, you know, if you don't got any spell or trap response, and, you know, you really can't get over it. It's 3,000. I mean, I guess now 101 existing definitely helps that situation, but the difference between BLS and Chaos Sorcerer is that attack barrier, where, you know, before 101, if you summoned a Chaos Sorcerer, you bench one of my cards, like, okay, I make a Utopia, run you over. But, you know, BLS is just, his stats are just really good, you know, being 3000 and 25D. He's going to be hard to get off the field if you don't have the right card at the right moment. Chaos Sorcerer is just like him, where, you know, you can banish a monster on the field, and if you do, you can't attack. So, you know, it's pretty much just BLS. This card is limited to 2 at the moment, and I really hope that it doesn't go back up to 3 unless BLS gets banned. That'd be the only way I would like to see this card go up to 3, is if BLS gets banned. But, you know, BLS hasn't been really doing anything at the current moment. I mean, he'll probably see some more play when, you know, the Lightsworn structure deck comes out and people want to play the Twilight version. But for now, he really hasn't been doing anything. Let's run 1 Honest. For a while, I was actually forgetting Honest in the deck. Like, I totally forgot. Like, duh. Like, I was just putting all the cards, making the deck, and then I was like, something's missing. And then I totally look at the deck, and I'm like, I'm missing Honest. This deck is light. You can drop the Honest. You know how Honest is. You just drop it and double your attack when you battle a monster, as long as you have a light monster. Honest definitely deserves to be limited to 1, and if you, and I think OCG is crazy to even consider. Actually, they actually did put this guy up to 2, so they're crazy because Honest is just too good. Honest is also kind of a win condition within himself as well, depending on the point in the duel. Next, we'll go into the Lightsworn monsters. So we got 1 Celestia. It's decent for what it does. When it goes off, but mainly it's for the name. 1 Wolf. He's decent when he goes off, but mainly for the name. 1 Garroth. He's decent with the whole Lumina Garroth play, where you can have a chance to draw some cards, but really for the name. Jane gets the situation done where, you know, you can attack, and when it battles an opponent's monster during his damage step, it increases the attack by 300, going up to a 21 beater, and then during that phase you can mill off two cards off the top of your deck, but mostly for the name. You will realize that this deck is mainly for the name. I run 1 Lila, and if you guys are gonna make this deck, I definitely recommend maybe trying to jimmy up this card more, because, you know, back row is definitely a problem. Or if that, try to put some MSTs in this deck, because, you know, I noticed that I didn't really need MSTs because I could just drop JD, but if you're gonna try to run this deck, you know, take it to your locals or something like that, you're gonna need a little bit more back row hate, especially in this triple tanky format. Definitely you're gonna need some more MSTs. Lila is good and all, but it's kind of slow. Compared to, you know, the spell speed 2 of MST, so I definitely recommend that you find room to put it in here. I'm not gonna do it because I really don't care. You know, I'm not gonna make this deck competitive or anything like that, so I'm just running it for fun. But Lila, you know, pop a spell or trap your opponent controls, and then turn this card to defense mode, and then during that phase send 3 cards on the top of your deck. But also for the name. We run 1 Aaron. Aaron's pretty decent. Hit laughs in the face of Zen mains, because before damage calculations, if you attack a defense position monster, you shuffle that monster back into the deck. So, you know, your opponent wants to put their monsters in defense, trying to think that they're going to be safe from, you know, 101. You can just summon Aaron and just go, bam, kick you back to the deck. And then also during the end phase, mill off 3, but also for the name. If you guys are wondering what I mean for the name, JD, you need to have by 4 different Lightsworn monsters in the grave with different names. So by running one of each of these guys, I'm bound to have just 4 with different names, and I'll be able to drop JD and win the duel. Supposedly. I run 3 Raiden. Raiden's good. I'd probably cut him, personally, I'd probably cut him down, like if I was trying to run the deck competitively, I would cut him down to 2, so you can, jimmy in some MSTs and stuff like that. But he pretty much gives Lightsworn something that they were never really able to do except for Card Trooper, which is being able to mill during your main phase. So you can send 2 Lightsworns, you can send 2 cards off the top of your deck, and if you mill Lightsworn, this card gains 200 attack till the end of your opponent's end phase. And you can only use the effect of Raiden once per turn, and then also during the end phase you send 2. So this guy essentially has a chance to send 4 cards for you. He's really good. He is also a level 4 tuner, also a 17 beater, allows you to go into your synchro plays that you are able to go into. So I definitely recommend that you run him when he comes down the structure deck, but I don't think he should be ran at 3. I think maybe 2 would be fine. Then we run 2 Minerva. I don't think I've ever pulled off its first effect. Its first effect is just so damn situational. Its first effect is when this card is normal summon, you can add from your deck to your hand 1 light dragon monster whose level is equal to or less than the number of Lightsworns with different names in your graveyard. So I had to have 4 Lightsworns in the grave with different names to pull this off. And let's see what I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there's a chance you can pull out, but the chances of it are so slim, and most of the time you don't normal summon this Minerva anyway. You pretty much use it to get that additional mill. Me personally, I would cut this down to 1, because just for the name, it's not that good. While it's on the field during the end phase, you mill 2, but the thing that it does is that when this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you send a card from the top of the deck to the graveyard. This is a mandatory effect. You have to do it. There's no choice. So even when it's used as a cost for like Monster Reincarnation, it would still go off. So I definitely recommend that you cut this down to 1 and maybe this down to 2. I don't know. Find more of a balance with it, but you don't really need this card. It's not that good. You probably will never get up with its effect. So just run it for its name. Also, it's a tuner, but it's not that good. It's really not that good. Just put it in the graveyard and just set up with it with, of course, Lumina. But we'll get to her. We run 1 Felice. I don't believe that Felice will be in the structure deck. Not I'm aware of. I think it was like it was in a pack. I want to say maybe Primal Origins for OCG, so I can't really confirm that it will be in the structure deck, so I'm not sure. But it's pretty much for the name. It's also a tuner, level 4. It's kind of like a wolf, where you can't, if you draw it, it's stuck in your hand. You can't normal summon that. And if this card is sent from your deck to the graveyard by a monster effect, so you can't just foolish it like you can wolf. It needs to be sent by a monster effect. You can special summon this card. You contribute this card to target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that target, and then send the top 3 cards to your deck. So I would run 1 if it does come out, just for the name. But if it doesn't come out, then don't run it. And then put in 3 MSTs for the deck. So I'll go ahead and put Mystical Space Typhoon, because definitely you're going to be needing to pop some back row. Then we'll run 1 Raikou. Raikou, mainly for the name, he's not as prevalent as he used to be. He used to be the shit, you set him, you flip him up, you destroy a card on your opponent's side of the field, then you mill off 3 cards. This card makes stuff mistime you because of the mill. So let's say you flip up Raikou and you destroy Yubel and Terra Incarnate or a Light Pulsar Dragon. They would miss timing because they would go flip, destroy. They would try to go off, but then Raikou's mandatory mill the 3 cards would make them miss timing. So just if you want to go ahead and do that. But the thing with it is that it's too obvious. Once your opponent starts knowing that you're running a Lightsworn deck, it's obvious that you're setting Raikou, so, it's not as good as it used to be. So if you open up with it, it's a good opening play. Just set it and pass it to your opponent. They go, they ram into it, you destroy one of their cards. And Raikou is also another key reason why you should always set in main phase 2, because if you go, In main stage 1, you go summon a monster, set some background, and then you tag it to a Raikou. Obviously, the Raikou, if they're a good duelist, they're going to use Raikou to pop your background instead of your monster, unless it's like Thunder King Ryo or something. But definitely just one Raikou, just for the name. Then we run 3 Lumina. Lumina is the bitch of the deck. Lumina is the bottom bitch, best lady. Once per turn, you can discard one card to target one level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster in your grave, special summon that target. And then also during the phase, you mill 3. It doesn't say you can only use the effect of Lumina once per turn, so you can literally just go Lumina, pitch, summon Lumina, Lumina, pitch, summon Lumina, Lumina, pitch, summon something else. You can literally do that. Lumina just gets you off. It's the key breadwinner in your synchro plays. You can go Lumina, pitch, summon Raiden, sync for 7, or Lumina, pitch, summon Minerva, sync for 6, but that doesn't really happen. There's not enough good 6s to really do that. So that's why you can see in my shirt that there's no 6s. But Lumina, it's great. She's the bottom bitch. Keep in mind that you cannot use her effect if you do not already have a Lightsworn engraver. So it's not like you can just go summon Lumina, pitch a Lightsworn, summon that same Lightsworn. You need at least one Lightsworn in the grave, but you can summon the Lightsworn that you pitched, but you need to have at least one Lightsworn in the grave. We also run 3 Necrogarna. Necrogarna is also another dark target for like BLS and Chaos Sorcerer, etc. But it can also block you, and it can easily get to grave by just milling it. When you mill Necrogarna, it's a good feeling just knowing that you got some protection. You can block with attack, etc. So if you want to go, summon Lumina, pitch, summon Garroth, and then during your end phase, mill off 3 for Lumina, then mill off 2 for Garroth, and Garroth will allow you to draw a card. If you milled, I know 5 mills, if you milled Garna, you can feel safe knowing that you can be able to block your Lumina with a Garna. And then we run 3, definitely not 3, 2 Card Trooper. Card Trooper also does what Raiden does, allowing you to mill during the main phase. You also zero out, because when this card is destroyed and sent to graveyard, you get to draw a card, and it can also go to a 19 beater. Now you guys are probably wondering, why is Card Trooper at 2? Why is it not at 3? There's a thing called Dupe Troop. Some of you guys might have heard, some of you guys might not. As you guys know, there's a card called Machine Duplication. It was in the Cyber Dragon structure deck. People were using it for a cool minute, so you can like summon Core, Machine Dupe, summon 2 Cyber Dragon, or summon Cyber Valley, Machine Dupe, summon 2 other Cyber Valley. Card Trooper was also one of these targets because it originally has under 500 attack, so you can go Card Trooper, Machine Duplication, summon 2 more Card Troopers, mill off 9 cards, attack with 3 19 beaters, limit removal, game your opponent. If they're destroyed, you don't care because you get to draw 3 cards. So pretty much it'd be summon Card Trooper, Machine Dupe, summon 2 Card Troopers, and then when they're destroyed, you got to draw 3. So it's pretty much a +1 with 19 beaters. It was just a really powerful play, and you need to have the 2 targets in your deck to be able to use Machine Dupe. So as long as Card Trooper is at 2, we don't have to worry about that Dupe Troop play. So definitely Card Trooper should just stay at 2. It's a very powerful card, and it's really great for this deck, so I definitely recommend you run it. So I know some people were cutting out Card Trooper in place of the new Lightsworns, etc. I will always find place for him just because he's just a decent opening play. You can just go summon Card Trooper, mill off 3, and then, you don't care if he gets destroyed, you get to draw a card. You literally get your card back. So definitely Card Trooper is really good in a Lightsworn deck. And of course, we run the 3 Solar Recharge. It's pretty much Lightsworn's draw engine. You discard Lightsworn, draw 2, mill 2. So not only you zero out because you play this card, you discard the Lightsworn, but then you draw 2, so 2 for 2. But then also you get the advantage of milling up 2 cards, and maybe you might mill into the right cards like a Lightsworn name or maybe a Necrogarner. You don't know. Most of the time when I use this deck, because this deck is so luck based, I generally mill off I mill off my Solar Recharges through monster effects, and it kind of sucks because you always want Solar Recharge. It's always good unless your deck is getting kind of empty and you don't want to mill off anymore before you deck yourself out. But definitely Solar Recharge is a great card. I run 3 Monster Incarnations. I know you're probably thinking like, why aren't you running Beckoning? I don't like Beckoning just because it's not really controlled as much as Monster Incarnation. You can Monster Incarnation, you can go ahead and just, grab whatever, it's faster. It's just like, I think Monster Reincarnation pitch, get back JD, summon JD. While Beckoning is kind of like, if it's turn too late, it's a turn too late. This card's a much better top deck, but this card is a neg 1, so you should be aware of that. You guys can go ahead and weigh it. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer Monster Reincarnation or Beckoning of the Light? That's your personal opinion. I don't really care. I don't like Lightsworns like that. You won't ever see me running Lightsworns in real life or anything like that, so I don't really care. But I personally like Monster Reincarnation over it. But maybe you can try a combination of both. Run 1 Foolish, because you can Foolish a Lightsworn named Necrogardna Wolf, and Wolf will be summoned back. If you Foolish Felice, she will not get her effect, because Felice has to be sent to graveyard by a monster effect, so also keep that in mind. Run 1 Rhoda, because we do have warriors, specifically Raiden, but you can also search out Aaron, you can search out Jane, Garroth, so you have a good Necrogardna, you have a good chunk of targets, so it's good just to run the Rhoda just to help with your consistency. You have 1 Charge of Light Brigade, the Lightsworn Searcher card, where you send the top 3 cards of your deck to graveyard, then you add 1 level 4 or lower Lightsworn monster from your deck to your hand. So that's pretty much, through this card, you can search out any Lightsworn in the deck, besides Celestia, but you wouldn't really want to search her anyway, but it might not be bad, if you go like, Charge, Search for Celestia, Foolish, Drop Wolf, Tribute Wolf, and Destroy 2. It's not a bad play, but you can't search her. It has to be level 4 or lower. This card is limited to 1, and in my opinion, should stay limited to 1. And I heard some people are like, oh, it should go up to 2 or maybe 3 just because the new Lightsworn support. Like, the deck is already powerful enough. It really doesn't need anything. It's perfectly fine the way it is. So, yeah. And I just recently put these in, but I already talked about them, the 3 MSTs, because, back row hate also, and, triple Tenki format with Bujins being one of the top decks, definitely you need to MST them Tenkis or just back row just to make sure that your plays go off. Alright, this video has gone on much longer than I thought it was. I apologize for rambling, but I wanted to get you guys as much information and detail about the deck as possible. So we're going to go through the extra deck. So I run 1 Ancient Sacred Wyvern. This deck can make it because you do have Light Tuners, you can synchro into it. This card can, help you OTK. If your life points are higher than your opponent, this card gains a difference. So, the more damage you dish out, the stronger this guy gets. And if your life points are lower, then it loses the attack, but you shouldn't be summoning him if you're in a losing situation anyway. If this card is destroyed by battle instead of graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points and summon it back. So, not a bad card. If I was going to make this deck, I'd run 1, just because it can help you with OTKs. Run 2 Michaels, because Michael is the new supposedly secondary boss monster of the deck. I hear some people calling it Mikhail, but how is it Mikhail? It's obviously Michael. You don't call, Mikhail Jackson or Mikhail Jordan. It's obviously Michael. Anyway, it's plays you can do when you don't have JD at the time. You can pay 1,000 to target a card on a fail and banish it. Also, when this card is destroyed, either by battle or by card effect, you can target any number of Lightsworn monsters in your grave, shuffle them back into the deck, and you gain 300 for each one, so you kind of heal your life points back, and you can also put Lightsworns back in the deck to be used later, and then during the end phase, you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. It's a 26 beater over the attack barrier, and, it's kind of like the go-to synchro guy, when it's time to go into a synchro, and you can go into a decent synchro play, go into Michael, because he'll have you covered. Because I can sync into 7s, I like to play 1 Black Rose, because Black Rose can wipe the field, and, yeah. For our 8s, because we can go into 8s sometimes, that's what I'm saying. I run 1 Stardust Spark, because Spark can block itself from JD, and, Spark is just a go-to Synchro 8. This deck doesn't really have any targets to blow up Scrap Dragon. Also, I do not have any Dark Tuners, so I can't go into Beals. But if you're going to run this deck, I definitely recommend that you do run maybe like a Plague Spreader or something, or some kind of Dark Tuner, just so you can go into Beals, because Beals is a very powerful Synchro. And we have 1 Crimson Blader, because when it's time for me to go into an 8 Synchro, and, against the right deck, Crimson Bladers can be putting in that work, locking down the duel. So, definitely, if I was going to go into an 8, and it's the right time, Crimson Blader can lock down the duel, so, good. And we got Xyz, we got, of course, 101 Excite-on-Night. I shouldn't have to go into detail about them. If you can go to any 4s, these 2 are your go-to guys. 101 grabs a special summon attack position monster, equips that Xyz material. So, it won't allow monsters that get their effect when they go to the graveyard, such as Quasar, because they would become extreme materials and they would miss timing. Next Saturday night, if your opponent has more resources than you, summon this and wipe the field. It's a quick effect, spell speed 2. So if your opponent wants to try to bottomless you or something, you can go ahead and chain this and wipe the field. Level of chain. I really don't go into this often, but you should have it in here. You can go ahead and make a level of chain. You can send Wolf, and Wolf will be summoned. You can send Felice, and Felice will be summoned. And that can also help you get set up. You can also take a monster from the top of your deck and put on top. So you can go ahead and summon a level of chain and put JD on top, draw into the JD, and go off through that ways too. When one Zen mains, when push comes to shove and my hand's not the greatest thing in the world, I can go ahead and go Lumina, pitch, summon maybe a Lumina or a Felice, and go ahead, I mean not a Felice, I'm Nirva, and go ahead and go into Zen mains and stall out for a little while. Some people run Fortune Tune, but I personally like Zen mains a little bit more. It gives me a little bit more bang for my buck than Fortune Tune. Gonna run one Gaga Cowboy because I can go into 4s, and if you can go into 4s, run Cowboy. I hear some people saying that they don't want to run Cowboy, they never summon it, but there will be a situation where you can summon Cowboy for a game, and you'll be mad because he won't be in the extra deck. So definitely, I recommend that if you can go into 4s, run Cowboy. Run one Leviathan Sea Dragon because you can grab monsters that are removed from play, such as Necro Gardeners that have been removed from play to block you, or monsters that have been banished for Chaos Sorcerer or VLS. You can just bring them right back with Leviathan Sea Dragon. Run one Felgrand, and you're probably running like, why one Felgrand? You run Felgrand in case you summon multiple JDs. You're not able to go for game. Let's say they threatening roar you and you have 2 JDs, and now you're just like, oh, I don't want to mill myself, I don't want to deck myself out. You used to run Heliopolis, but now since Felgrand is out, definitely turning those 2 JDs into a Felgrand just to make sure you don't mill yourself out is definitely a great play. And Felgrand is a boss, so definitely. Run one Abyss Dweller because Abyss Dweller is the shit, and if you don't have an Abyss Dweller yet, make sure you pick it up because Abyss Dweller can win you duels. Abyss Dweller is good against water, it's good against Booge, it's going to be good against artifacts, it's good against Dark Worlds. It's just so good. Like, just being able to lock down grave effects for that turn is definitely a good thing to do. So definitely, if you don't have Abyss Dweller yet, make sure you pick it up. And one Paladimino. This deck has light 4s, and Paladimino, wins games. You can detach 2 extreme materials to target a face-up monster your opponent controls. Attack becomes 0, its effect is negated, and when this card is destroyed either by battle by card effect and sent to graveyard, draw a card, so it pretty much gives you your card back. So definitely a great monster if you can go into level 4 lights such as Constellars, Stella Knights, and Thunder Family. Alright guys, so this was the deck profile for Lightsworn. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck being on Daily Duels and this deck profile. Go ahead and test out the deck if you want to. Like I said, I'm personally not a big fan of Lightsworn. I kind of feel like they're kind of skillless. Maybe if they didn't have JD, maybe they'd be like an interesting deck, but as long as JD exists and all you have to do is just drop JD and win the duel like that, it's just kind of like, okay, sure. But be sure to watch another Daily Duels. Actually, it'll be going up at 1:30. My first episode of Daily Duels with me using the Pendulum Thunder Family. Gonna go ahead and try it out. If they don't work, we can always just change them out as well. But I'm gonna try them out. The deck has high consistency, and it actually has the ability to not have to run all the back row, but you just switch it out with Pendulum monsters and a little bit of Royal Decree. So be sure to check that out. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for all support. Thank you guys for supporting this deck. It's it's been very helpful. Where I've done my soapbox videos, such as answering you guys' questions about the ban list, to just me talking about Yu-Gi-Oh in general. Lightsworn is an easy deck just because it's easy to use, and I really don't have to focus much when using the deck. So like I said, go ahead and check out the upcoming Daily Duels at 1:30 p.m. Pacific Time, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I will see you guys then. Thanks for watching.